Hello everybody, I'm PhenomSage, and welcome to the video that you all have been waiting for, the top 10 gems of Houseki no Kuni video. Just to clarify, this is my personal top 10. A lot of you may know that I created a poll to see what your guys' favorite gems were in the series. So many people submitted their votes and cast their opinions on who their favorite gems were that I actually wanted to make that into its own separate video, as opposed to what I was going to do before with including it in this video. And that poll results video should already be uploaded by the time this is uploaded, so if you want to go see what the poll results were, a link is in the description, or you can go to my channel, or you can wait till the end of the video and I will link it at the end. So yeah, let's just get into this top 10 gems video. I was agonizing for like a day, switching around gems, seeing who I wanted to put above other gems. It was very hard. It was a very difficult decision, but I think I've come up with my concrete top 10 as of the anime only characters. I will most likely do another poll and another top 10 gems list by the time I'm caught up with the manga, but as for now, let's just get into this. Before we start, I want to get into some honorable mentions, the gems that just couldn't quite make it into the top 10, but I really wanted to at least mention them because I love them so much. First honorable mention going to Euclase. I know this is a shallow reason for putting her on my honorable mentions, but in my opinion, she's the most attractive gem of them all. She's always there for Jade, always supporting Jade, and she's the first real character in the series that we see actually express some sort of introspective thoughts on them being immortal. Next honorable mention going to Paracha. I know this is going to upset a lot of people. I know everybody loves Paracha. She didn't get quite enough screen time for me, but from what little we got, she was very charismatic, very interesting, and I enjoy how disconnected she is from everybody except for Rutiel because of her being in a coma all the time. Another honorable mention going to the Amethyst twins. I know quite a lot of you like these characters. I enjoyed them a lot, but again, not quite enough screen time for me to bump them up to that top 10. But I like that when Foes was in danger, they told her to run, and when they were re-pieced back together, they weren't mad at Foes for not doing anything when they were in trouble. They completely understood and actually took the blame upon themselves. My fourth honorable mention goes to Zircon. Zircon is just a really lovable character that got a lot more screen time by the end of the series, and I find his love and desire to protect Yellow just very sweet and admirable, so I couldn't make this list without at least mentioning him here. And finally, my final honorable mention, of course, goes to Obsidian. I love you so much. Cutest gem ever. Please give me more screen time, Ichikawa. I'm begging. With those honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the top 10 proper. My top 10 gems of Houseki no Kuni. Coming in at number 10 is Alexandrite. Now, I'll be honest. When Alexandrite first got a decent amount of screen time and a lot of you were saying how much you loved her, I wasn't feeling it. Her obsession with the Lunarians was actually kind of creepy to me. But after that final episode and after seeing the transformation in the second to last episode, that was just more than enough to bump her up into this top 10 and make me appreciate her so much more. Her obsession with the Lunarians was actually used as a plot detail rather than just a quirk to her character. She has that deep hatred for the Lunarians for stealing her partner Chrysobaro away from her, so she obsesses and wants to learn everything about the Lunarians that she can, so that she never forgets that hatred. Coming in at number 9, we have everybody's favorite quack doctor, Rutiel. And it's hard not to put Rutiel on your top 10 when she's basically the reason that all of the gems are still alive. She literally spends almost every waking moment either working on Paracha to get her out of her coma, or fixing the other gems. We see throughout the series that she hardly ever gets a break, and that she'll always work her hardest for the sake of the others. So it's already hard not to love her, but then we get even more character development regarding her connection and bond that she shares with Paracha. All I have to say is give Rutiel a break right now. Securing a modest number 8 spot, we have Sensei, Master Congo, or Adamantite, whatever you want to call him. He's the leader of the gyms, he takes care of them all. Don't believe Foes' propaganda. This man loves and cares for every single gym here. As we see throughout the series, he is practically a father figure to them all and guides them in the way that he sees fit. Sure, he's probably hiding some secrets, some things he doesn't want people to know, but we all have that. I can't blame him too much. I choose to trust and believe that Sensei is a good person. Coming in at number 7, you knew she'd be here. You knew that she would be on the list somewhere. At number 7, we have that Jade greatness. What else can I say about Jade that hasn't already been said? Dutiful, hardworking, caring, curious. She's just all around a great character who cares about her other gyms and wants to lead them all in the right direction, with Sensei's guidance, of course. One of my favorite scenes regarding her is when Sensei remarks on how with great power comes a sense of solitude and loneliness, and Jade just innocently asks him, she says, "Does that mean you get lonely too, Sensei?" She is just the most precious, most caring individual here, and the only reason she is so low on this list is because she gets nowhere close to the amount of screen time that she deserves. At number 6, we have Bort. Bort played a main role in the series for quite some time, but it wasn't until the last few episodes where I really appreciated her character and the complexities that she had. She's introduced as this strict and mean person in the beginning, but towards the end of the series, we start seeing more sides to Bort, that she does have the capability for love and caring, as seen with Daya. I also enjoy that she is the strongest member of the group. I would argue even after Foes has transformed that she is the strongest member of the group, and that she respects the strength within others, as seen when she asks Foes to team up, and her constant advice to others to improve themselves. She also has plenty of funny and charming moments, especially again towards the end of the series where she really gets that spotlight, which ultimately helped me enjoy her character even more. Starting off our top 5 gyms of Houseki no Kuni, at number 5, we have Cinnabar. Now, to be honest, Cinnabar was much lower on my top 10 prior to the final episode, and I'm very glad that I waited until after the final episode to make this list, because up until the final episode, we really didn't get much screen time with Cinnabar. But in the final episode, we get a lot more insight into her character and the relationship that she shares with Foes. We see that she never forgot Foes' promise back from episode 1, and even still has the encyclopedia that Foes used to try and save her from falling. In the end, she denies teaming up with Foes, not because she doesn't want to, but because she realizes that Foes' true goal is much different from what it was before. Coming in at number 4, we have Antarcticite. This is clearly one of the most loved gyms in the series, and despite not having much screen time, it is apparent why. What I appreciate most about Antarcticite's arc as a whole, both from a character perspective and a storytelling perspective, we see that Antarcticite is the primary force behind the Foes transformation. He is easily the biggest aspect that incited that change within Foes. I think Antarcticite is the only gym that Foes truly looked up to, which is why after his death, we see Foes not only imitating his look and his appearance, but also considering just simply what would he do in the situation, and making her choices based off of that. And Antarcticite was the perfect character for this setup because he has no connection with the rest of the gyms. Up until this point, the only person he had a connection to was Sensei, because he only forms in the winter when the rest of the gyms are asleep. So from that perspective, Foes is his first friend, and by the end of his life, one of the only 2 people that he cares about. The winter arc was easily one of the highlights of the series, and that is in part to Antarcticite's great character and development despite so little screen time. Coming in at number 3, somebody that you guys actually didn't rate that highly, despite how much I love them, we have Yellow Diamond. Yellow was very underrated on the poll, which is interesting because she's one of the few gyms that we really get a deep and complex look into her mindset. She is the oldest gym along with Papa, and we learn that she has lost 4 gyms who have partnered with her to the Lunarians. The story uses this plot element to identify Yellow as just this tired, weary older gym that just doesn't want to lose anyone else. And we see this exemplified through Zircon, her newest partner, who she clearly cares for very deeply, but by the end of the series, she leaves Zircon with Bort, someone who is far stronger than her, in hopes that he'll be safer with her. This clearly impacts her emotionally, but she wants to protect Zircon even at the cost of her own happiness. So I just think that Yellow is easily one of the most identifiable characters here. She's pretty much the older brother or older sibling type of figure to the rest of the gyms, and quite often putting up a facade of happiness despite being so depressed. All of these things just make her one of the most likable and relatable characters in the cast. The final two should have been fairly obvious just because these characters are both universally loved and they're both so interesting. Coming in at number 2, we have Daya, or Diamond, the gym that everyone wants to protect because she's the purest, most innocent thing I've ever seen. Or so you'd think. Daya's character is very interesting because as the series goes on, we learn more about her and realize that she's not as perfect as meets the eye. She definitely starts off very likable as pretty much the only gym out of the entire group who cares about Foes' well-being and being turned into a snail. But as we explore her relationship with Bort more and more and learn about her thoughts and feelings regarding Bort, we learn that there are a lot more flaws to this character than we originally thought. And I'm going to choose to not go into this too in depth because I'm actually writing and making a video on this very subject as we speak. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, it's hard not to love Daya just because she has some of the coolest and most badass moments of the series. And finally, at number 1, was anyone expecting anything different? Phosphophy Light. Foes is far and away the character that makes this entire series for me. Whether it be at the beginning where she's cracking jokes, being sarcastic, and just a lovable personality in general, to over the course of the series, slowly fucking up more and more, and realizing that she just makes things worse for everybody. To the end where she is transformed as a character not only in appearance, but in resolve and personality. She seeks answers for all of the mysteries surrounding this world and will assumedly go to any lengths that she needs to attain those answers. This is seen most prominently in the final episode, as Foes uses her promise to Cinnabar for new work, something that she initially promised Cinnabar in earnest, something that she wanted to bring to Cinnabar to make her happy. She's now using this promise as an excuse to use Cinnabar as somebody who can help her gain answers. Now, that's not to say that Foes is a bad person at this point, but it does show just how warped her mindset has become and how much she has changed over the course of this series. I remember back when I was reviewing those early episodes and hearing this promise of a change in Foes from the beginning of the series to the end of the series that is morally gray. You don't know whether or not this change is a good thing or a bad thing because it has elements of both inside of it. That is what makes Houseki no Kuni so interesting for me, and that is why Foes is my number 1 character from the series. And I find it very hard to believe that Foes will ever be topped at number 1, even when I catch up to the manga. But that has been my top 10 gems of Houseki no Kuni, along with 5 honorable mentions. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you liked my picks and my reasoning for why I picked the characters I did. And if you haven't told me why you picked the characters you did, I'd love to hear in the comments below. And as promised, here is a link to the video where I go over the poll results, the top gems that you guys chose as an audience. Over 700 people participated in that. I was so happy with the results. I hope you guys go check that out if you haven't already. And of course, as usual, have a great day.